Hey everyone, the title and thumbnail were not clickbait. My computer literally caught on fire. So this won't be like a typical one of my videos. I'm just going to tell you what happened and how you can prevent your computer from catching on fire, which is a pretty important thing for a computer to not do. Now this system you haven't even seen on the channel yet. It's been kind of hard lately, so I'm still working through editing old footage that I filmed a little while ago and publishing that on the channel to stay on my upload schedule. So you'll see this system soon, but basically bought a whole new workstation recently and bought an RTX A4500 to go in it, but originally I had my old GTX 980 in here, and it just took two 6-pin power connectors, so when I upgraded to the A4500 with one 8-pin, I needed an adapter. So I bought one of these, which HP officially sells them, but I thought it would be fine to buy like an $8 one instead of the $30 HP one. Just single 6-pin to single 8-pin, because the power supply has three 6-pin connectors, because even on an 1125 watt power supply, HP can't figure out how to use the 6+2 pins that the rest of the world uses. So anyway, it was working fine for like 4 months. But this morning I woke up to the 4 monitors plugged into my RTX card completely black. But that one over there, that's on this little Quadro card, was running just fine. So I was like, oh no, that's bad. I checked Device Manager, and the RTX card was not there. Reinstalled the drivers, still didn't work. So at this point I thought my GPU had just died. So I opened up the case and I went to unplug the power connector, and that's when I noticed that on the other end of the 6-pin something looked pretty wrong. And indeed, the power connector had caught on fire last night when I didn't even notice. And here we can see that 2 of the wires melted and completely came out, and the ends of one of them is burned. The yellow wires are what actually deliver the 12 volt. Now, I was only pulling about 100 watts through this connector at maximum, and my computer was completely idle at night. I wasn't even running Folding at home. I was running nothing that puts load on the card. So this card only pulls 180 watts, and the first 75 comes straight through the PCIe slot, and the card was maybe using 30 watts at the time. So even if you're thinking, oh, although these can melt, I'll be safe if I don't put a lot of load on my card, no. This is not just limited to GPU connectors catching on fire. This applies to a lot of things. But you'll see videos of something awful happening online and you think, oh, but the chances of that happening are so small, that'll never happen to me. But then it happens to you. And it really makes you realize, wait, it just drives it close to home that, oh, actually, that's a very real danger. And it was especially dangerous because it caught fire at 2:30 a.m., or at least that's when Device Manager, or sorry, Event Viewer says the computer unexpectedly shut down. So probably a little before 2:30 a.m. I was in the room, but I was sound asleep. So I didn't even notice this until like 4.5 hours later in the morning. And luckily, the fire only spread so far as to melt the casing on a few of my SAS cables here. Nothing else caught on fire because the GPU, like when the power was removed, the NVIDIA driver crashed and then Windows blue screened. And then the computer didn't properly reboot. It rebooted, like hard reset, but it didn't initialize this GPU because it knew something was wrong. And it just initialized my Quadro and my accelerator and booted without this card. But if that hadn't happened, this could have kept heating up. And if the ground wires melted off as well, and the 12 volt and ground touched, because the PC was still pulling voltage through the connector, that could have killed the power supply. It could have then killed everything else in the computer. And I'm not trying to flex here, but I could have woken up and my $4,000 of hardware could have just burned in the night, and I never would have known and never been able to prevent it. So that's why cheap adapters are so dangerous. And I mean, I knew that some of them could catch on fire, but again, as I was saying, until it actually happened to me, I thought, oh, the chances of it happening are so small, that'll never actually happen, but no, it very much did happen. So I'm thankful that all of this is still working. I just need a more robust power adapter. But basically, message is just don't screw around when it comes to power and stay safe. That's it.